with their negotiations with the school. Erica was kind enough to talk to her earlier today, and she is still in negotiations with the school board and has been so since like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So she will not be, most likely will not be joining us, but we can hold a separate meeting whenever. If we do want her to come back on, we can easily host something if that's a topic that people in our community are interested in. And as of right now, I don't see anyone from SAC PD, which, as Erica mentioned, they are, there's a protest, so they may or may not be joining us. If you did come on this call specifically to raise concerns with Sacramento PD, please send me an email. I'll type my email in the chat box, and we will be sure to forward your concerns so that somebody can reach out to you. So if everyone's okay with it, then I may just skip to good old Jocelyn from Councilmember Harris's office. Jocelyn, are you around? I know we're moving quickly through the agenda.
I am around. If you can just give me a second to pull up my notes. I have so many tabs open. I'm so sorry.
No.
How is everyone? Are you guys doing well? I hope you guys are staying safe and healthy. My name's Jocelyn. I work for Councilmember Harris. He's the representative for your area. If you've ever called his office or emailed his office, you probably talked to me once or twice before. Just want to give you an update that the Sacramento, with the public health order, the governor announced a new mandate. It's basically rescinding his earlier mandate to allow industries and activities such as fitness centers, worship services, protests, offices for non-essential sectors, personal care services like nail salons, body waxing and tattoo parlors, hair salons, and barber shops, indoor malls. The Sacramento County is on the state's county monitoring list, and those are the industries and activities that are shut down unless they can operate outside or via pickup. So this is in addition to the sectors that previously shut down indoor operations on July 2nd. And those include bars, brew pubs, only in conjunction with sit-down outdoor meals, zoos, museums, wineries, all the fun stuff, restaurants, movie theaters, family entertainment centers, and card rooms. If you guys have any questions about the public health order, please call the public health hotline. I can put that number and those details in the chat box for everyone to have and to be able to access. Oh, that's not it. That's it. Yeah. So any questions about the public health order, please contact that email address for complaints about unsafe practices at businesses such as face covering, social distancing, or violations of the public health order. Please dial 311. It'll go to the Sac County Connect or go to the Sac County Connect website. The Great Plates Delivered program has been phenomenal for our local restaurant economy and has been able to keep our seniors indoor and those who are at high risk. So that has been extended, thankfully, to August 9th. And we are actually looking for more seniors. I think we have a capacity of about 40 or so seniors that, or 40 or so spaces that need to be filled. So if you guys know anyone, let me find the, where'd it go? So if you guys know anyone that that can benefit from this program, please send them my way. Send their contact information. We've been in District 3. We've been able to enroll 110 seniors, which is a really significant number. I think it's amazing. With your guys' help and your outreach, I appreciate that. So if you guys know any senior, I think there's been an update in the income level as well. So yeah, if you guys know of any High-risk individual or senior that can benefit from this, please send it my way. I can put my contact information in the chat box as well. Back to my notes. Where are they? Sorry about that. I have so many tabs open. My computer is so small. Where'd it go? Oh no. Sorry. No, where'd it go? Oh, I lost it. The Creative Economy Grant Program. So I can't ad-lib that. I'm so sorry. I need to find my notes. Hope you guys are doing well. Oh no, I should be more organized.
No, Jocelyn, do you want, I noticed that Lieutenant Dobson has joined us if you want
Sure.
to switch
Yes.
topics. Yeah.
I
Okay.
can pause and then meanwhile I'll find everything.
Perfect. And I also realized I didn't allow our board members, which I think is just Howard who is on the line with us right now, but I didn't allow him to introduce himself. But Howard is also here if you'd like to say something.
I believe Janae is also with us.
Oh, and Janae. I'm sorry. You're not showing up.
I'm here.
Hi, Janae.
Hi, guys.
All right, Lieutenant Dobson, if you would like to unmute yourself.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Happy quarantining. Hope everybody's doing well. Not much. I just want to open up for Q&A, especially because I want to hear your concerns. But the only bit of news that I have right now, and can everybody hear me okay? Can I get a thumbs up? Are we good? Perfect. Thank you. Is there's going to be a bit of technology, and I don't believe this has made it out to the press releases yet across the community, but you may see it in your neighborhoods or get reports about it in your neighborhoods. But the Sacramento Police Department has fielded its brand new unmanned aerial flight team. So for lack of a better term, the use of drones. We don't like that term because it denotes military, but we've got some unmanned aerial systems that we're going to be able to deploy during emergencies to kind of work in conjunction with our ground teams to kind of help with officer safety and finding missing people, tracking down fugitives. The same thing that the helicopter does, but in a smaller format and a lower flight ceiling. So if there is a critical incident or a police scene in your neighborhood, you could very well see these units flying around. We'll try to give announcements, just like we do when the canines are working, to provide the community with some information and allow people to kind of shelter in place or just to make them aware. But you'll definitely see them up in the air. We have 24/7 coverage with these. They're attached to our patrol teams. So they're up and in flight and helping us out, keep everybody safe. As of like this week, they've started literally on Monday. They've started fielding units out, and we've already had one find that helped us capture a subject that actually ran along the river along Garden Highway. I believe it was yesterday. So they're a useful tool and they'll be out and up in the air. So you might hear some inquiries about it. And we hope that we'll have a PAO team sending out some press releases about it here pretty soon. Other than anything else, I mean, I would rather just hear your concerns. I know my time is short and everybody's locked in. So if there's any specifics on issues, I've been kind of keeping up to date with the emails from Jocelyn and everybody else regarding some normal concerns. I know everything is kind of changing weekly with our lockdowns and our COVID different criteria that the state we have to follow, and we are weathering it just like you are. We are isolating ourselves in our separate stations. We've kind of created some isolation protocols with us so we can keep up and running, but we are working diligently to make sure that our police service isn't ceased because of this, and we can continue to be that essential personnel that you need. The only thing else that I think you may have heard down the line is we're working pretty diligently dealing with some of these sideshow car club deals that are going on. We're getting large groups of vehicles that are coming together. And just like any issue with a large group, I would say 80 to 90% of people, young kids that have just had nothing better to do because of the lockdowns. And then we've got about 10% that are out there to kind of drive recklessly and keep everybody unsafe. We are aware of it. We do send resources towards the monitoring, including the helicopter. So you may see some activity in Natomas. Natomas is one of the areas, especially in the northern part, where these vehicles like to congregate. We are on it. We enforce as diligently and as safely as we can. We don't want to jump right in and start a bunch of vehicle pursuits that would cause undue danger to the public. but we are making some good citation, and more importantly, we're towing a lot of cars for people driving recklessly. So hopefully that curbs it and keeps those car clubs just what they should be, parking and admiring each other's cars and having a good time, then moving on and keeping the reckless driving to a minimum. And that's about all I got right now. You're muted.
We have Gia, who wrote in the chat box, deployed for emergencies. If you see something that is not within the particular emergency, will that be considered fair game, or would you need probable cause for going after anything collaterally seen?
Yeah, anytime that we deploy it, it needs a watch commander's approval, and there's certainly a balancing act between privacy rights and what we would deem an emergency. So right now we're looking at emergency situations and things that we've used that we can be seen in plain view. Right, anything that you would particularly call a helicopter on, we can probably call it the air unit on. But it is a finite resource. We would literally have to pull officers up the line, so it's not going to just be probably for a lower misdemeanor level, something that a ground unit can go on, because we just don't have that resource. It'll be more for like a perimeter, looking for somebody that has run from the police, or if we have like an at-risk missing person. Those are some of the scenarios that we'll be looking at, especially some of the wooded areas where the vehicles are at, or the ground level, have a hard time seeing things.
Gia, do you have it? Is that enough of an answer, or would you like any clarification? You can unmute yourself too if you'd like.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, during the time that you guys are up there though for one particular thing, and let's say you see something in somebody's backyard, is that something you would be able to include because you saw it, it's in plain view?
Well, anytime, yeah. I mean, I'll give you an example. And I'll use the helicopter because that's the frame of reference that we're going to use, because the helicopter sees things that normal people on the ground don't see. If the helicopter during its normal path of flight is looking for somebody that ran from a stolen vehicle, and they bypass a large property that's got what they believe to be like an illegal marijuana grow, that isn't technically in plain view what they normally see in their flight path. Could they have the ability to follow up on that or refer that to an investigation down the line? Sure. But the main focus will be, we're not going to be hunting and pecking and looking for other trouble. The main focus will be the mission that we're using for. This is a new technology, and I know it kind of freaks people out because we're having those issues, but we see that they're out there. It is a technology that we can control, and we are going to make sure that we stay clear to make sure that we don't infringe on anybody's rights. I don't know if you've seen the news story where we actually have the smaller drones that we can use in a tactical situation that actually can fly into homes for like a barricaded subject or an armed fugitive or something like that. But there's a warrant requirement for that. You need to actually write a warrant to breach anybody's door in a home, just like if an officer was going in. So there's a lot of legalese that we have that we're required to do that. And there's a lot of checks and balances. So to roundabout, back to your question, these devices will not be deployed at the whim of an officer. It takes the command and control of a watch commander or lieutenant at my level to approve the flight of these drones. So we're going to make sure all those check boxes are done. As for any illegal activity that we see in passing, if we see somebody literally getting hurt or a domestic violence in progress, yeah, it would be our duty, just like if we were searching in your backyard with one of our canine teams and we came across another crime in progress. It would be our duty to act, and we have a right to be there because we're lawfully being there doing lawful things. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it does. I worry because drones obviously are smaller than helicopters. So they'd be able to see into windows, for example, or things that are much smaller. Let's say you left your shed open, things like that. Potentially a drone could pick that up while a helicopter couldn't. So just thinking about those kinds of things, but you answered my question. Thank you.
Okay.
And with regard to the 311, I know we're supposed to call them for when people don't use masks. I have a community garden flat over in Niños Community Garden. It's right, it's in the Northgate area. There's apartment complexes right near there, and they often gather without masks, and it often worries me because I mean, sometimes literally hundreds of people doing a big barbecue or having a big party in the park and at the apartments, but it's after hours, it's on weekends and stuff. So what do we do about situations like that? Is there anybody we could call that would educate them about how important it is? Or
yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It is an educational component. We're not going to be super heavy on enforcement. We're probably not going to have the resources right now, especially at some of those late hours, like on a Friday or Saturday night. because we have such a long list of other priority calls to deal with to go out and make that contact. But you can definitely call our non-emergency line at 301. Last time you can make a reference. You can use the app to make reference to that call, and they can try to do some follow-up on it. But if we have a free unit available to go out and make contact and do that education component, we can absolutely try to do that.
Okay.
Especially if it's a large group with a lot of people.
Yeah, Annette, I think.
Yeah.
And
Just
I think
quick-
Annette has an ad question because I see your hand raised.
Yeah. Well, just a concern. Yesterday I was going through town. I see 2 police cars and they're arresting a suspect, and the suspect and neither of the police officers were wearing a mask. And just a concern, it seems very dangerous because I know suspects many times will spit. So what's the policy for the police?
The police are required to wear their masks anytime they get in contact when in a planned event. Most of the officers, when they're in their car, will not because they're in their own space. That being said, anytime that something rapidly evolves, and I don't know the instant in regards to that, if they jumped out and they had to arrest somebody, sometimes there's instances where they don't have time to put on their mask. I don't know. I'd have to look up and see what that deal is. But we are required when we make contact to wear our masks as much as possible. And now even the jail is requiring our arrestees to be transported into jail with masks on. They won't accept them otherwise, which makes it problematic because the county didn't furnish us with masks. So we have to provide our prisoners with masks now, full service, before we can take them to jail. So we're doing our best. Sometimes, and I will be, I was in a pretty rapid unit in the K-9 unit, and before that in the SWAT, and sometimes stuff jumps out on you. And your first inclination still, even though we've been into this for about 6 months, is not to throw on a mask. Your job is to go out, use officer safety, detain the subject, and sometimes that mask is still an afterthought. But we're working diligent to protect ourselves. The last thing we do is see our cops get sick, and then we'll be off the line.
Thank you.
You bet.
Lieutenant Dobson, can I ask you, so will there be a notification system similar to like the helicopters about the drone use so people know why drones are flying in their area?
Yeah, we're working on language right now, and I use this, and I'll use the example of when we deploy canines in the field. Usually we'll do like a PA announcement to that neighborhood, the affected neighborhood, of what's going on. So whenever we have, let's use like an active perimeter when we're looking for somebody, we will take time before we even deploy, unless it's an emergency when we need to do it very quickly. We'll take time to do a PA around the neighborhood with our vehicles and let everybody know that, hey, we have a police perimeter. This is who we're looking for. Please dial 911 if there's an emergency. These are the resources we'll be using to help effect this arrest or help search for this people. We can use that in conjunction with the air unit if it's up, or we'll do it by the ground units just using the public address system. We're experimenting with the reverse 311. That is, in my opinion, sometimes not the best way to do things, because maybe you're asleep and we don't want to wake up, 3,000 people with a telephone call to tell them that they're drone when they're sleeping through it if it's 2 in the morning. So maybe if people are awake and they hear the PA, they'll understand what's going on. They can go back to sleep or figure it out. But we're playing with that. But at minimum, it'll be a public address announcement and let everybody know in the area what's going on.
And Sachiko, I see that you wrote a question in the chat box. Will you send out a text to us? And feel free to unmute your line as well if you'd like to add any context around that or talk directly to him.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, sometimes when we were doing work on the Garden Highway and stuff, we got texts saying, closures, things like that. So if the drones are going to be in our area, is there a way to send out a text to us or a phone message, things like that? Because they're over here in South Natomas all the time. So, at least the helicopters are. So instead of, just hearing them, because I have a 2-story house too, and I have windows open, so I'm not going to be too happy with drones coming looking in my windows.
Yeah, I think we're getting along wrong lines here. I think I'm not one of the drone team leaders, but the drones are literally going to be working at an elevation that's going to become an overall, like basically take the replacement of the helicopter. We are not going to get into practice looking to be at the elevation of windows. We're just going to be high enough on an elevation where we can see into a yard and look for people that run from us. I think that if you have a situation like that, then we're getting into warrant territory, and we'd be looking at a specific house. And that's something that we literally, if we have like a barricaded suspect or some type of SWAT call out, where we might get to that elevation where we're using the drone capacity, but that's going to require a warrant requirement, a couple extra steps. But again, I'll be here for all those questions. And if you have any other issues or complaints, I'm not sure if we would do a text string, depending on the officer safety issue, letting that information out, especially for dealing with looking for a fugitive. But after the fact, maybe we can put some type of information out or tell you that's what was going on. Or you can always call in if it's specifically to our non-emergency line, and the dispatchers will let you know that there's police activity in your region and that's what's going on. I just feel a little wary about sending an all text out to people, to an uncontrolled population, especially if we're looking for somebody.
So then the height level of the drone would be, they shouldn't go down past the tree level then, because
No.
Okay.
No. The UAS team is specifically, again, this is a new technology, and we know that as much as useful as it will be, and as excited as we are to use this as a tool to enhance everyone's safety and help catch people that are hiding from us and help find missing kids and duplicate the efforts of the air unit, which is sometimes limited in what they can do with when they can fly and that kind of thing. We also know that it gives people pause, and we want to be very diligent and cognizant of that. And we don't want to ruin a new tool, and make sure that it's making everybody happy and making not everybody wary. We're very aware of that. And if you have any issue, anytime one of these things is up and you don't like the way it's flying, you have a question, you can reach out to me or reach out to dispatch directly, and we can address that issue as we move along.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
Does anyone else have any questions for Lieutenant Dobson?
Actually, sorry. Actually, I have one more about the fireworks that are still going off. Are you guys still patrolling? And I had a whole bunch of bottle rockets in my front yard, and my neighbor who has a pine tree with pine needles had them all over her house.
Nope, we respond to, especially now with the volume is obviously reduced since the end of the holiday. We did have a task force specifically set up to respond to fireworks call. Now it falls upon our patrol teams. And just like any type of call for service, whether it's gunshots or fireworks or any type of crime in progress, we will respond and we work off the information given to us. Now, if it is a phone call that says we have fireworks on X block at X intersection, we respond to that. And sometimes by the time we get there, that's it. If we have specific information about a certain house that is responsible for these fireworks, then we'll make contact with the house and conduct enforcement as needed. But absolutely, if you feel that there's illegal fireworks going on, especially the aerial dispersion type, please give us a call and get a hold of us, especially when it comes to fire dangers. And then our dispatch center evaluates what priority is. I know it's a nuisance to you, but sometimes that's exactly what it is. And depending on what time of night and how many other priority calls are pending, that's kind of the level of response that you're going to get, unfortunately.
And Gia, did you have a question?
Yeah, hi. So I was curious about the homeless issue. I know that, wherever the homeless want to camp, they're allowed to now under the new orders, and that makes sense. I know that there are problems with garbage, and in our neighborhood, I live right across the street from Fort Natomas, and so South Natomas Community community park, as well as the area that I live in, we've had homeless stay, and then they would just throw garbage out of their car. Is there anything we can do to kind of help them, I don't know, understand the importance of putting garbage in garbage cans? I mean, are there any citations for that kind of thing? I know you can't cite them for where they are. They can't be moved, but, is there a way you can educate them about, where to put garbage?
It's an ongoing effort. I know I'm just looking at some references that Jocelyn and Sergeant Juan of the Impact team have kind of gone over with what we can and can't do specifically when it comes to RV, and it is a constant battle. All I can say is we can be diligent. If you see large deposits, we still have impact teams that work diligently with our sanitation department to kind of curb that and get it cleaned up as quickly as possible. My only advice, because I used to work that detail every once in a while, is that be diligent about it. If you see a small thing, that don't let it turn into a big thing, because it's easier to enforce. Once, how do I put this? Once a transient community finds root in a certain area, it's that much more difficult for them to get moved on, or get them out into a different area, or even an improved area. Absolutely. Can we still cite for littering when somebody says this isn't garbage? This is what's garbage to you, maybe personal property to somebody that's homeless. That becomes an issue that we often address. But I would say continue to give it attention. Call it in when you feel it's necessary. We have impact teams working almost 7 days a week during the day shift hours in the mornings between about 6 and 1 p.m. And we can put that on a list and try to address it. We try to enforce as much as we lawfully can, but you're absolutely right. You began the statement with saying we can't cite for unlawful camping, we can't, but there are warrant requirements. There's different enforcement techniques we can do to make it kind of inhospitable, especially if they're ruining and creating blight in your neighborhood. And we're trying the best we can.
Okay. So when you say we should address it or call it in, who do we call?
You can dial a non-emergency number.
Okay.
Yep. Oh wait, yeah. Actually, let me see that. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. If it's after hours, I'm reference. I misspoke soon. Still use the 311.
311. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Sorry about that. I got my wires crossed. You forget that I usually work graveyard, so I work 9 p.m. to about 6 a.m. So everything's 911 at those hours because nobody else is awake.
Okay. Okay. Thanks very much. Appreciate
You bet.
Great. Any other questions for Lieutenant Dobson? Well,
Thank you all.
thank you. We really appreciate you joining us. We know how
You
busy.
bet. Be safe out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. You be safe too.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, next, Jocelyn, are you ready? Or I can also go to Eric. Or Erica, do you need to get going? I know you have a kid at home. Oh, never mind. Jocelyn, would you like to go ahead and go next? And just as a reminder, we've had a few more people join us that we've had a little bit of a change in the agenda. So Brenda Borge most likely will not be joining us from the Natomas Teachers Association tonight because they are still negotiating with the district. So just wanted to give everyone that heads up if that's why you decided to join us tonight. All right, Jocelyn, it's all you.
Awesome. So I just wanted to reiterate that the Great Plates Delivered program has been extended through August 9th. The governor's office has added a minimum income requirement as well as a maximum income requirement. And we've added that to the attestation questions for eligibility. So if the annual income is below $24,980 for a single household or $33,820 for a two-person household, the individual may be eligible for other programs and not this one. So I am happy to put the file in, so there's a flyer. I have it in Spanish too. If you guys need it, I'm happy to put it in the chat, but that's what the requirements are. Please feel free to share it with your community, your neighbors, your family members. If there's anyone that may be interested or can benefit from this program, please refer them to our office. Our Vice Mayor Harris and Councilmember Guerra will be hosting a special meeting with janae on this Friday at 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. We are still trying to get the Zoom meeting details, but it will be on Friday, July 17th at 2:30. So we would love to have you guys there if you guys are interested. This is to talk about the public health crisis and the Latino community. And then I think I also left off on the Creative Economy Grant. So the Sacramento City Council approved the framework for the $7.5 million Creative Economy Recovery Program designed to help arts groups, tourism, and cultural organizations during the pandemic. This program includes 6 specific grant opportunities, so monies can be dispersed to businesses, institutions, individual artists, education opportunities, and organizations representing culturally diverse communities and neighborhoods. One of the grant opportunities will also help these groups respond to the coronavirus with equipment needs like personal protective equipment, or with purchasing technology transition programs to be virtual. The application period for the grants is open now through July 22nd. I'm happy to provide the link if you guys are interested. So here is a link for the Creative Economy grant program. And I don't know if you guys have seen or if you guys are connected to our Facebook page, but the art installation that has been on delay for quite some time has been installed at Fire Station 15. This is the Michael Stutz public art installation. It's the Nighthawk Over the Waters. It's a tribute to the energy and natural surroundings of the Natomas community and to the fire stations of to the firefighters of Station 15. So I can show you pictures too. I am getting really techy with Zoom. So there's a picture. Unfortunately, Screen on the Green is canceled this year due to the public health crisis. We want to make sure that everyone is safe and healthy, and you know, it's better to stay home and not to move forward with this public event or physical event. So yeah, I think that's it for me. If you guys have any questions about anything that I have mentioned, I also want to let you guys know that the Vision Zero School Safety Study Plan has been completed. The completed plan for all 20 schools has been posted online for public comment. This includes 4 schools in District 3. Those are Garden Valley Elementary School, Natomas High School, Smythe Academy of Arts and Sciences, and Sutter Middle School. So I can also, let's see. Here is the link to the Vision Zero Top 5 Corridors project. So the draft of the Vision Zero School Safety Study is available for review online. And here is the link. Please, please take the time to review it and provide input. This will help our traffic engineers and our investigators kind of move forward with the project with public input and tailor the project to your needs. So I know school safety and traffic safety has been a common theme with like the community meetings that we've had or that I've attended with some of you and other organizations in the neighborhood. And that has been kind of a significant topic. So we want to make sure, I want to make sure that you guys have this, this information. Leslie Manchevo will be meeting with janae at their next meeting. We're scheduled to be on their agenda next month. So if you guys would like, I can also ask Leslie to attend an NCA meeting, and we can just create one for NCA. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, again, please take a look at the draft of the Vision Zero School Safety Study. It's important to put your give feedback and have an input on all that's going on. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'm here, I'm all ears. You guys can private message me or ask questions now if you guys would like. Anyone?
Marbella?
Maria?
Or sorry, I'm sorry for the mispronunciation.
Okay. Thank you, Jocelyn. I do have, I have a comment and then I have a question. So the loan forgiveness program closed on Monday. And so do you know, because I know there was an Erica, thank you so much for helping us as well as getting out the word to all our small businesses about this program, and Erica doing the webinar to allow people to give them information of how to submit the application, etc. So will you have a sense some point in another week how many of our businesses, both in Gardenland Northgate, but also in South Natomas, actually submitted their applications? Would you have a number? You don't have to give who, but just a number of our businesses that applied for the forgiveness program. So that's my question. And then my statement is, as I was going out there on Monday and helping a couple of businesses submit their application, and it was right after the governor, well, one was in the morning, so I wasn't able to speak to this individual about it, but in the afternoon, after the governor made the statement, the question was posed to me with this forgiveness loan program that the city just gave us. That was to deal with the prior shutdown. And now here, this business in particular is completely shut down. It's not a restaurant. She has a beauty salon, and she was like, so now what am I gonna do? Because I'm being shut down again. And I barely have been able, and hopefully with this forgiveness loan, able to pay my bills. And now I'm going in and shut down. And is the city contemplating how they're gonna support the businesses that are going to experience another shutdown? That's it.
So were those two questions? One was about the list, or was it
No,
a question and a statement?
That's two questions.
Okay. So your first question about a list of how many businesses applied north of the river in District 3. I can get an estimate. I can probably ask our economic development team for an estimate or a number. Hopefully they might have a good idea by the end of next week. So yeah, I can provide you guys with that. Your second question about whether or not the city is considering how they're going to mitigate that, I'm not sure. Right now, the council's on recess, so there hasn't been much discussion, or at least not that I'm aware of. Councilmember Harris we're trying not to have him work right now. He's been pinging us in the middle of the night, like, hey, did you see this? And we're like, you're supposed to be on vacation. So, but yes, I think that's definitely something that the city should consider, how they're gonna address the second wave of business closures. So I am happy to bring that up to the council member on Monday morning when we have our team call.
Thank you, Jocelyn.
Yeah, no
I'm
problem.
gonna have to leave because my granddaughter just got here, so sorry, but.
No worries. Thank you for joining us. Any other questions? Annette? Oh.
Thank you, Marbella.
Any other
I just say goodbye to Marbella.
comments, concerns, feedback? Okay.
No, I think we're good. Thank you so much, Jocelyn.
Yeah, no problem. I am going to have to also leave. I'm going to wait a couple minutes just in case anyone has any questions that they didn't think of. But I'm going to have to leave pretty soon too.
Sounds good. And we have your information. So
Great.
yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much. All right, so next we're going to switch topics a little bit to the Erica Naranjo, our local librarian in South Natomas, is going to talk to us about the library. And before I let her have the floor, though, I just want to say the library has been like the bright light of my life and my daughter's life since we have been staying at home. And you guys are doing so many cool things and working so hard, and it is much appreciated. So I'm so excited that you're going to be able to share a little bit about some of your programs.
Definitely. And, you know, I just want to say to everyone, sorry about the little weird comment chat thing. I was trying to input the website address for summer reading because I obviously want to highlight summer reading during the summer for the library. And I was trying to delete and my big thumb hit the send button instead. So, oh well. Yes, so we are in the thick of it with summer reading, even though the libraries are technically closed to the public. We are offering curbside pickup, and we've been doing that now for almost 2 months. If you look at the 2 pilot branches that first started back in late May, and we gradually added more and more branches. We're at a point where we have 24 of our 28 branches offering curbside pickup, and the few that are not, it's because of building logistics. We actually are not able to bring back enough staff in that area and have them there safely. So it's just a hindrance. I think even the Central Library is going to start possibly offering some services very soon. So just so that you're aware, we're all, most of the staff is back and working diligently inside like busy little bees. And we want you to request books. We love putting together those little bags. It's like little gift bags every day that we get to put out on the table for everybody. So don't be afraid to use your library card. If you are having any issues, let's say, you had some fines on your account before the closure and, you're not able to do anything about that right now, just, give the library a call. If you need to, tell them you're returning a call from me, Erica, at South Natomas, and they'll put you through to me and I'll help you out. So you can give them my name. So yeah, we want people to definitely place their holds. We want to get you your books. You can bring books back at any time that we are open, that we're doing curbside services. So that's Tuesday through Saturday, 12 to 6 at any of our locations. Well, the ones doing curbside, I shouldn't say any because like I said, there's a few. But South Natomas, definitely, even North Natomas, we're both open and doing business right now, Tuesday through Saturday, 12 to 6. And if you do have holds that come through, you should get a notification from the library, either email if you're set up for that or a phone call to let you know that you have items available and you can schedule a curbside pickup appointment at that time. We're usually able to give people an appointment the very next day if that's convenient for you, but you can book up to a whole week or more in advance. For those, super users who like to get a lot of books, you may find that kind of going back to the way you might look at it when we were open every day, setting aside a day of the week that is your quote unquote library day and just picking up all your holds on that day can really be beneficial, and you don't have to worry about something coming in and picking it up right away unless you're really, really excited about reading that new book. But we are currently, any items that are returned to us, we are quarantining them for at least 72 hours. And so we are practicing all the best safety measures out there. Staff, they are all wearing masks and gloves when they handle materials. We're doing every 30 minutes sanitizing inside the building. And we're all maintaining 6 feet of distance from each other, even with masks and gloves and everything. So we're doing everything we can to make sure that we can stay healthy enough to get you your materials. Our lovely youth services librarian, Miss Marion, has been doing some of the virtual story times online. So definitely go to the website and click on the link. It's right there on the front page for the virtual programming and virtual services, because Miss Marion is featured there. So if she's your favorite, you can see her. There's also some other really great librarians on there. I know Nate has come to our library a few times to stand in for Miss Marion, and we have some Nate fans in the Natomas area as well. So he's on there quite a bit too. We are doing our summer readings, so feel free to sign up like you normally would and start logging your books. I did mine today for me and my daughter. And we are going to start handing out prize books, I believe, after August 1st. And we are also very soon going to have some yard signs for people to request and pick up curbside. So keep an eye out for those, because once you see one in front of the library, it means we have them available and you can start inquiring about how to get your own. And it's just kind of one of the ways that we encourage the community to promote reading for everyone. And one of the other things that we are starting very soon is our personal shopper services. So let's say you want something to read, but you don't know a specific title, specific author, you just kind of feel like getting something, or you want the best books on a particular topic. You can contact us for our personal shopper services, and a librarian will actually curate a list of books for you, place holds, and set them for pickup at your library of choice. So you'll get to work one-on-one with the librarians for that. And we are doing a lot of virtual programming online aside from story times with Miss Marion, but she's also involved in like the teen programming. Every Friday afternoon at 4, there's a virtual event for teens. It's called the No Book Required Book Club for teens. So it's a pretty cool online social hour for kids, for teens, and it's a lot of fun. And there was, my brain just totally went blank on it. Oh, yes, there are some branches that are doing virtual book club meetups for their branches book club, and South Natomas is going to be starting ours in August. So for those of you who know Teresa and have worked with her on the book club in the past, she is diligently working away on getting that all set up. And then she'll be contacting book club members, but we will also be putting an announcement on Nextdoor in case you have never been to our book club and are interested in joining, or if you know somebody who would like to. We're going to be putting some information out about that. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Anything you've heard about the library? I know, I think, was it Sachiko that asked about donations? So that is one thing that we're asking people to not bring to us right now. The Friends of the Library are not able to come in and sort books. So any donations that do happen to make it in, sometimes, you know, people will put a donation or two in with their library materials. We are quarantining those, but then we have to immediately turn around and ship them off to an organization called Better World Books, which is an international organization that sends books to libraries in need. So the books aren't actually staying in our community. They're not actually benefiting our library in the way that they have in the past. So if you're able to hang on to your donations a little bit longer and then bring them in once we are taking donations, that would be great.
Yeah, and Sachiko just asked Erica if you could send her that information, or you can also send it to me and I can get it to her. That's helpful.
Definitely.
And then I have one very specific question, so but you can also. I got one of those books where, you know, you could sign up on Amazon and have a new book delivered to your house. Can I also, because I kept the receipt, but can I also just drop that off, or do I need a special appointment or notification to hand that back?
So yes, Zip Books, which is that service that you get a book from Amazon. There's no due date on that, but if you're done using it and you want to get it back to the library, the best thing to do is to put a note on, you know, on the book or inside the book that indicates very clearly that it is a zip book, because if we don't know that it's a zip book, we will we'll end up thinking it's a donation and we'll ship it off somewhere. Whereas if we know that it's a zip book, then we will send it downtown to our collection services department. And then if it's something that they think might be a good addition to our collection, they will then add it to the collection. So it's best if you do have a zip book, put a note on it and before you put it in that return box, and that way we will know what to do with it when we check it in.
Thank you.
And this time I am going to send the proper link for summer reading so that everybody can go to the website and sign themselves up, sign up your whole family, and start logging your books and getting your points so that you can still get your prizes come August 1st.
Does anyone else have any questions for Erica? I think you're good. Well, thank you
Okay.
so much for joining us. I know how busy you are. And yeah, again, like I feel like I'm a library groupie now. So like you have fans out there. So thank you for everything.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, definitely come. Well, I can't say come see us because you might be able, you might be able to wave to us through the glass. But definitely put you through your requests. We love seeing the names of all of our patrons. We remember you fondly, and we love being able to, you know, fill those holds and get them out to you. So definitely make those requests and let us know what books you want.
Thank you. All right, well, next we have the privilege of being joined by Otis Cross, who's the president from the California 3rd District PTA. And Otis has that beautiful background behind him, which makes me very jealous of wherever that is. I hope it's where he's living. But we are gonna try something. We couldn't get Otis to be able to share his screen, so I'm gonna share his presentation on my screen. If it doesn't work, say something. Hopefully I have made it so the presentation will show up so you can actually read it. But
okay.
If it doesn't.
Well, thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Otis Cross, and I'm the president for the 3rd District PTA. I do want to thank everyone for inviting us this evening. I do have a small presentation that I put together, and it's really to let you know what 3rd District is all about. And PTA, I know everyone has, to me, PTA, this is a new PTA. And I think everyone has like a history of what they knew about PTA. So I'm gonna let you guys know what 3rd District is doing and kind of what we're looking for. So yeah, if you'd like to present.
Yes, sorry, working on it. Just one second. Okay. Of course, it's not showing up now. Just one more minute.
No, that's right.
There we go.
So I also have Sue Dean, my VP of Leadership, on the line also. So hi, Sue. Yeah, here we go.
Okay. Can everyone see that?
Yes, we can. Let me just minimize that so I can see. Okay. So next slide. Yeah. So here's a picture of me, and if I am the 3rd District president. I'm also on the state. I actually just got done with my term as the chair of the district presidents. So I got to represent all of the presidents for the whole state for a year. So that was very rewarding. I'm also on the legislation commission for the state CAPTA PTA. I'm on the diversity, inclusion, and equity committee for the state. And I'm also on the board of managers for the California State PTA. Next. So our mission for the PTA is, the mission of the California State PTA is to positively impact the lives of all children and families. That is something that the decisions that we make in the PTA, we bounce it off of that. What I've learned is any decision I need to make, if I like preface it with, is this going to benefit the kids? And if the answer is not yes, usually it's going to go wrong. And it's maybe an adult or someone else that maybe has an interest in things. So I really bounce that off whenever we're making decisions. Is this going to impact our kids positively? Okay, next. Okay, our board of directors, we have 11 board members on our 3rd District board. Next. We're located at the, actually over on Broadview out in, well, I would call that Rancho Cordova. And we're actually in an office where the Sacramento County Office of Education, they've actually given us some space there for our office. So we thank them every chance we can get. Now the counties that we serve, next. Okay, good thing is I have the presentation over to my left too. I'm gonna learn to always have backup. So you can't actually see it, but I will read this to you. So the counties that we serve with the 3rd district, we serve Colusa, El Dorado, Nevada, Placer, Sacramento, Sutter, Yolo, and Yuba counties. That's a total of 9,650 square miles. It's 128 driving miles between the northernmost and the southernmost cities, and 140 miles between the westernmost and the easternmost cities. So we cover a wide range of things. Okay, next. The school districts that we have in those counties, we have 10 school districts in Sacramento County, 3 in Placer, 4 in Yolo, 1 in Sutter, 3 in Colusa, 2 in Yuba, and 1 in Nevada. And that's a total of 23 districts that we currently service. Now, just a little history of the 3rd District PTA. It was established in 1916. We had 621 members back then and 27 associations or PTAs and 1 council. Last year, we have over 12,919 total members as of February this year, and 156 associated PTA associations. So as you can see, we have definitely grown and we want to continue to grow. Next. Now, as I mentioned that date, we're actually next 104 years old. So we'll be 105 this year in October. Now, some of our next units that are out there, we have 3, next, sorry, having animation when someone else is doing it. It's a little difficult. I get it. No, it's all right. So next, so celebrating in 3rd district anniversaries, we have 3 units that's over 75 years been established, 35 units that's over 50 years, and 48 units that's over 25 years. So you can see we have a lot of tenure there with our PTAs. Next is probably like 3 next. It's gonna.
Yeah, for some reason, so I will work on it, but it is
No, it's all right.
moving. Oh, there we go.
Okay, so I just wanted to, I didn't query everyone's like, what do you know about PTA? So I just wanted to go over this. This is kind of an overarching, like, what's the organization, what is it? Because a lot of people know about the school, their school's PTA. So yes, there's a school PTA, there's an in-council and an out-of-council. Now here in our region, all of our units are out of council. We do not have any councils. So all of our units report to the district. So all the units report directly to us. And then we report to the state PTA, and then the state reports to the national PTA. Next, and the purpose of me bringing that up is that there is a lot of support for units that run PTAs. Everything from training, you have family engagement, there's legislation, that we're working with kids, and they're just supporting their school, right, and supporting the kids there. Okay, next.
Sorry, unfortunately, it's doing it again.
Okay, so on the next screen is actually, let me hit this. It's just our resources, and I will send this to everyone. 3 websites. So we have our website, which is www.thirdpta.com. You have the state's website, www.capta.org, and then the national, which is www.pta.org. Now, you don't need to be a member to go to these sites. This material, as we said, we're here for all kids. So if you want to peruse our sites and see things there, feel free. If you want to volunteer and join a unit, feel free to do that also. Now, some of the things that we look for in PTA in leaders, because you got to remember, this is a volunteer organization. So when you're volunteering, there's a lot of people that are really passionate, right? And it's how you interpret that passion, right? To say, okay, we want to move things forward. So things that we look for in a leader: to be available, to show respect, to be confident, to have knowledge, be supportive, listen well, show concern, be flexible, be sensitive, and have patience. Those are things that I install in my board and that I try to make sure that they're getting out to the units with that. Okay, now managing a PTA, communications, it's all about communications, right? And being virtual now, we're learning that, okay, we did have a pretty good communication tree going on already. So we were able to go from on-site meetings to virtual meetings. Now, some of the things with communicating, which is really important, is have regular communication, meaningful and two-way, right? So it's not just a one-way conversation. Keeping everyone in the loop is really important. Remember to walk the talk. So if you're representing PTA, make sure you're walking the talk there. And then conflict management. Believe it or not, we do a lot of conflict management in PTA, but once again, it's because we deal with a lot of passionate people. Now with that, the 3 R's is really recognize, referee, and resolve. So, okay, looks like our presentation's back up. Now to do that with the open communication, we have our executive board meetings that makes the decisions, you know, and then they go to the association with there and they present there, it's voted on, and then it goes to committees and it's just a circle. So we try to keep all the lines of communication open both ways. Now on the financial side, and once again, this is one of the benefits if you had a unit, the support that you would receive from district and state, is say you had a financial issue. Handling funds, we have a really strict way of how the funds should be handled, and if it's handled that way, everyone will be successful. But if for some reason there was some mismanagement of money, we are there to help with that. And some of the things we have in place though is money has to be counted by 2 people, and one of those people needs to be an officer or chairman. Deposits needs to be made immediately, never deposit in personal accounts or school accounts. And payment authorizations, make sure it's signed by the president, secretary, and never sign a blank check. So those are like some little basic things that we have in place to try to help with the fiduciary part of running a PTA. Now, we always tell everyone if there's any hint of a mismanagement or you have a question, just reach out to district and we will help you resolve that. And if it's after the fact, still reach out to us because we could still help. Okay, I have just a little quote here. We're all in this together. PTA is the largest and oldest volunteer organization whose mission is to focus on the well-being of children and families. Here in California, we have over 760 members, 760,000 members, sorry. And nationally, we have over 4 million members in PTA. So with that, I will close. I want to thank you for inviting 3rd District. I'm always open to just to spearhead and to talk about PTA, because once again, I feel it's a new PTA that's out there, and for parents, we're there for parents. I think right now with everyone going back to school, everyone's trying to figure out, well, what can PTA do? Well, we're really involved with family engagement. That's the biggest thing right now. What can we do? And acknowledging that people are struggling right now and trying to just acknowledge them, tell them it's okay. You're not the only one going through that. So we're really, I feel like I'm really in a supportive role right now to try to help everyone through what we're going through right now. So one last quote, everything you can imagine is real. That's by Pablo Picasso. So any questions for me?
Yes, actually, I have one. Did Natomas ever get an Natomas council?
They did not, and we actually don't have any councils now in 3rd District. So this is my 1st term. My 2nd term this year, it is looking at building up and adding some more schools. With the COVID-19 though, we're struggling with how do you charter a new school not being able to be there. So there's some things that just has to be physical. You got to sign stuff. And so we're trying to figure that out. And I think the state is actually working on that, like what kind of guidance they can give to help with that. Right now we have 11 of the 14 schools in Natomas right now are PTA schools, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I know. I'm thinking of American Lakes. We tried really hard for Natomas High and American Lakes. I mean, I got for Natomas High, I got 25 parents that showed up to the starter meetings, and the principal just wasn't on board. It seems as though our superintendent has discrimination issues with the people that are trying to set it up at American Lakes, and it's just really unfair for the students. Do you have any advice on what we could do about that?
So the advice I would have, it's if a principal is not on board, it's maybe going to the district. And I mean, we have a lot of schools in Natomas, so maybe it's, you know, showing up to a district meeting and saying, hey, we have other schools that want to join. Has anyone had like a one-on-one with the principal to figure out like really what the concerns of bringing a PTA in his school is? Do we know those concerns?
Well, for Natomas High, it just seemed as though he was more wanting to just keep it with the boosters and sports clubs and things of that nature, and maybe PTO. And I know for sure that we've gone to the superintendent as well, and it just seems as though if he has a problem with certain parents or families, then he just isn't on board for the students. But we'll try that again for sure.
Yeah,
I want to thank you so much, Otis.
Yeah, and Erica, I would also add that in high schools, so it's looking at PTA with different lens, right? It's not about raising money. It's really about supporting families and the legislation part of it. I think that's with our schools, the ones that are struggling, because it's not about money, right? So if you can make it not about money, I think there's a different way of looking at it. So I'd be more than happy, to work with them and to see, but once again, we got to get to the root cause of why they don't want a PTA there, because I'm looking, this is my last year, right, in this position. I want to make sure they're going to be successful for 25, 50, 75 years, right?
Awesome. Yes, for sure. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
And I think, Annette, you had a question.
I think Sachiko, I'm sorry, I messed up your name. I think she had something in chat before I raised my hand. So then I'll go after.
Do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question, say your statement?
Yeah, actually at American Lakes, we've been trying to get one there for several years. And we actually had the principal say yes. And then there's some confusion between the district and third district PTA. The district kept saying, oh yeah, we're gonna let you do it. And then the district would say, but it's third district that doesn't want to let you do one. So there's been a lot of, how should I just put it, lies. And the parents and the kids are the ones that suffer. So I would like to actually personally set up a meeting with you and get down to the bottom of this, because we still till today have parents that would like to have a PTA at American Lakes. And we did have one there, a successful one for many years.
Okay, yeah, let's set up something up, and we can look back at when they were successful and maybe see what was going on then and what was going on now when it wasn't. Because once again,
I was the president back then, so I can let you know how successful we were.
Okay, and we'll figure out where the ball kind of got dropped at too. So
it got dropped out from a principal that didn't like having the parents there and didn't like how vocal we were and didn't like that we actually did for the kids.
Can you hear me?
He said it made the teacher.
Oh, okay, I can't hear. Okay. Statement for Otis.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can. Otis may. Otis,
so I can't hear anyone.
You can't hear anybody?
No.
Oh.
Sorry.
No.
I can look at the question though. Let's see. Natomas is going back to virtual. What is PTA doing for parents today? And yeah, I would need a little bit more context around that statement. So what are PTA doing today? We're doing what every other company is doing right now, which is trying to adapt to this pandemic. So we're supporting parents right now with PTA. That's our main thing right now, is how can we support parents? And it's not a financial support. So it's more of an emotional support, and just being really complying and knowing that we're going through the same things that they're going through.
Right. So
I think
that was
with
my
how
question.
PTAs are ran, this whole pandemic has moved us into this century, right? Now we're actually are doing virtual things and types of things. We just did our training virtually, and this was the first time where we actually got all the counties there, right? But we were moving our trainings to different counties every year. So this has actually been a really good thing. I honestly feel like our units are going to be supported more now with us being virtual. So I hope that kind of answered the question how I interpreted it. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to know if you were doing any
Thank you.
online support stuff for parents.
So, Otis, you still can't hear us, yeah? Okay. Well, Annette, I can send your question to him in an email as well with your contact information, if that's helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Otis. You can't hear us, but thank you. So that wraps up what we had on the agenda for our meeting. Erica, I don't know if you're still in a good place, but since we have a few minutes, I actually wanted to try to get some feedback about the idea that you and I bounced around on Friday and see if people, what people thought about our informal or community chat idea. Is that okay?
Sounds great, yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. So last Friday, Eric and I ended up on a call or on a Zoom call to help people sign up for the city's forgivable loan program. And we had a couple takers, but what it really actually was beneficial was for our mental health. We just sat there talking with her and Jocelyn, and we covered a variety of topics. And what kind of came out of that conversation was, one of the things we're really missing right now are friends, family, and just feeling a connectedness. And that might be something that NCA could offer via Zoom for our community. And we were calling them like community chats. They wouldn't all be formal meetings like this, but we could even get together. Like one example that we threw around was, what books are you reading right now, or what podcasts are you listening to, or what's been your favorite recipe? We talked about, a lot of us are first-time gardeners, so we talked about, like, how do you actually garden? And we could potentially partner up with the people at the Garden and Arts Club to have like a Q&A or advice line, and then another potential idea was, a lot of us feel like we want to help in some way. So maybe figuring out who our not-for-profits are in our community, having them all come on, talk about what they do, what services they're offering, and how people in the community can help. And that these would take place, we would get on Zoom, we would chat. They could take place once a week or whenever we felt like it, so we wouldn't have to wait to talk about something for a whole month. Because and I'm just rambling now, but like we wanted to talk about school resource officers, but then we were waiting a whole month for our next meeting, and now that topic is kind of irrelevant in a way because of how fast stuff is moving. So I would love your guys' feedback. Good idea, bad idea, something you wouldn't consider joining, and it's something like nothing has to be set in stone. So there you go.
I think it's a great idea. I think we're all missing that. And
Yes.
it's really interesting. Once GNA started using Zoom, our first month, we were meeting like weekly. We had so many things, but it'd be nice to just expand it into the neighborhood just to have those sort of things. And I'll throw this out here. I've been going to a lot of virtual fundraisers to get ideas, and ended up finding this young man that will set up trivia nights, if you want, with like the separate rooms and stuff. So I do have a contact there. He doesn't charge very much. So if you want to do something, we actually can set up little separate rooms, people talk, and then maybe come up with ideas and come back. I can give you that information. I think it's a great idea.
We'd love that. Thank you.
Amy, what do you think? I kind of threw you guys in as like a volunteer.
Our club is actually, we're changing the format of our meetings. We started to do this before the shutdown, but we do have a Zoom format for our group meetings now. And on the the 29th, which is our monthly meeting, it's the last Wednesday of the month. And we're going to actually start doing presentations. One of our master gardeners is going to do a presentation on vermiculture, which is composting with worms. So if you want to learn about gardening, and then I'm working with our new board member also to start working to do like open studios for artists to come and do artwork together via Zoom. We're also thinking about doing some socially distant in-person plein air art activities. So, but you throw a party, I'm there. Just let me know. It sounds like a wonderful idea. We definitely need to connect. And I think that the more connections we can do with young people, especially, you know, with the schools going virtual for the first quarter, it's gonna, you know, if we could maybe do it like a family night with the NCA and have kids come in too. I don't know. We need to socialize. We definitely do.
Thank you.
Love it. Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, if you guys have any amazing ideas for topics or anything, you feel free to send them and we will set up the link and show up. Great. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to add? I saw that Otis put his email address in the chat box, and I will also circulate it to everyone. And I see Annette's hand raised.
Just, you know, janae just gave out our scholarships, and remarkable students make you so proud to breathe the same air they're breathing. But this is a separate thing. I've been volunteering lately with SMART, Sacramento Metropolitan Advocates for Rail, something like that. I should know what it means. But they're looking for volunteers to hand out face masks at the RT stations. I went one day, and most people were so thankful. They're cloth masks that RT's handing out. We had a couple people going, I don't believe it, leave me alone. And I don't know why they're not letting me on the bus just because I refuse to wear a mask. So, you know, consequences. But let me know if you're interested. You can contact me because they're just trying to go and really spread the word and, you know, just getting masks to everybody as they're getting on and off light rail and buses.
Cool. Thank you. That's an awesome project. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. I'm assuming that we will probably all be having many conversations in regards to schools in particular. And so we will be sure to notify you when Brenda can join us, if anybody would like to join that conversation, as I know it's at the top of mind for so many people. And with that, I will just say it was nice to see everyone's face or your name on a black rectangle, and we will hopefully talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Lizzie.
Thank you, and drive safely home.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.